Hey, Haas, what's up?
Hey man, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Everything's going good today. Nice weather, everything, OSUKARU. Um, Tell me about the beginning stages of the band.
Oh, the beginning stages. Well, it's pretty much just a result of me leaving my former band called I
Uh,
in 2009, and in 2010, early 2010, I figured out that what type of stuff I wanted to do. So I put together back then a lineup consisting of myself and a LA based drummer called named Brian Coyle and a bass player. First, it was a bass player called Sujo, and then it was another one called Emma, and two members from my band before I called Katana. That's the lineup that did the first EP called GBG to LA, which is short for from Gothenburg to Los Angeles. Because, as with every young band in this type of uh, genre, LA is the end goal, right?
right.
So that's what we did, and the year after we did another EP with a new lineup with Carl-Johan Sjöberg, Schönberg, sorry, I got a mind fart there. The singer of Care of Night. He was a member of OSUKARU for a very short while, and except for that, it was the remaining. The lineup was intact, and then we did a. No, sorry, we had Christopher von Wachenfeld, who also was a member of Care of Night for the first two records involved with OSUKARU. This was for the second EP we did in 2011. That was what was the name of that one? Wasn't prepared for this, apparently. Never too late.
Right.
And then we did the first full length record in 2012 with a new singer called Christian and a keyboard player called Dahlberg. And then it's been going from there. I mean, we are six albums in, a few couple of EPs, well, a few EPs,
Right.
and we have sadly not had the same lineup for two releases in a row at this point. It was always been a little bit of a revolving door, and that has never been by design.
Right.
But people have a lot, going on in their lives, and what can you do? Although we did tour the last album, Starbound, with the same lineup that is about to record the next album. So, and this lineup is very special. It's very hungry. So, I have high hopes for moving forward with the seventh record that OSUKARU will actually be a band where every member is counted for. It's not just me and some couple of guys because I never wanted OSUKARU to be that.
Right. Wow. Wow. Now, tell me about these three albums that I got a press release on Transition, House of Mirrors, and Starbound. Yeah, them
Yeah,
three. Yeah.
these three guys. These
Yeah.
are the re-releases.
Right.
Yeah, what happened was that since we released Starbound, this one,
Right.
the last one, album we did, um, we got a lot of requests for some of our older material, and in particular, House of Mirrors and Transition, both album that has been long out of print.
Right.
The remaining releases we still have prints of. We still have copies.
Right.
However, these we do not. They were, I guess, a bit more popular. I don't know, but either way, they're sold out. So I brought it up to our label, brought it to their attention, and they suggested that they release the two of the past albums that has been out of print for a long time, plus Starbound, because when we released this in 2021, the GerMusica Promotions, which is the in-house PR label from our label, Pride and Joy. They were working with AOR Heaven, who released the original version of this. And they noticed that it sold well and it sold out fairly quickly. So they even said, you know what, let's bring this one back in too if you want to re-release it on CD, because we still have copies of it on vinyl still. But
Cool.
there are, I'm like a salesman right now. But no,
It's okay.
yeah. But people have been asking for that on CD too as of late. So of course, let's do it. And of course, the label asked for bonus tracks, which is where we pretty much slack because we never do demos, leave the demos, and then re-record them for the actual album. We always, when we have record demos that we send out to the members and everything, we continue the same files and eventually it becomes the actual track. So we don't leave breadcrumbs, so to speak. So I had a quite hard time to go through these and find material that we could include with them. But with Transition here, this
Right.
one, we included Change of Heart and City Lights, both songs reimagined versions. We released both back then when we released this one, but one was on the CD and one was digital only. Now we have both on a disc. And on House of Mirrors, this one, we included two production mixes, instrumental of Ritual and MacGyver, two very popular songs from this record. And we wanted to do that because, well, we didn't have the mixed tracks instrumental, but I could do a quick demo mix, so to speak, of them, and just to, because we have a lot going on behind the vocals, so these are pretty fun to listen to because you pick up a little bit nuggets here and there that you normally wouldn't hear otherwise. And this one on Starbound, we have our good friend Erik Modin, drummer of Wildness and Houston. He has a little side project called Taekwondo where he's doing synthwave mixes and songs and stuff. So I asked him to do a version on Tainted Heart, one of the singles of this album, and it came out smashing. So we included that on this one as well. And except for that, we extended the booklets. All of these three have 20-page booklets with all the original content and some extra stuff. We have behind the CD here. We have brand new liner notes here where I write down a little bit of the mindset recording, producing, writing these albums. And the photos are, what can I say, rare to never before seen that are included here to make, each release very special. And also I made them look, like they go together. Have a little bit of a
good
layout here, so they go together very well. I really feel like a salesman making a pitch.
That's okay.
But I since I just got them from the label, I figured it could be fun to actually show them too. Like have a unboxing of sorts to show what's included. I will not show the booklets because I need to leave a little bit for the imagination. For whoever is interested in them.
Cool. So where can people pick them up?
Those will only be available via Pride and Joy, their own web store. So they're not out in stores or anything like that. It is strictly through them. And each of these are 300 each, 300 copies.
So basically it's a collector item no matter what.
It is indeed. Absolutely. We put a lot of care and love into these to make sure that even if you have the original version, they will stand out on your shelf and there will be a little bit of they will take a little bit of your time, exploring the new pictures and read the added lyrical content that we or liner notes. I mean, explaining the process.
Cool, cool. Now, you got to buy each one individually, or will they package it for you?
Well, they're available individually, but of course, we want you to have all three.
Right? Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Tell me a little bit about your solo album, Rendezvous.
Yeah, I would be this one.
Cool, cool.
We released that one earlier this year in March.
Right.
It is a solo album by name only, basically, because this one I did together with my very good friend Mathias, who
Uh-huh.
is the keyboard player on it. We co-wrote most of the songs together. We arranged all of them together. We decided, the sounds, whether it's guitar, bass, keyboards, drums, whatever. We pretty much had a vision, a united vision on where to go with this. He always says that I'm the one with a vision, and he's just riding along. But he is equally as big part of this project as I am, and it was a very fun process. It took 14 years to make that record.
Wow. Yeah.
And this is going back to what I said earlier when I left my band, former band I, as in EYE, I
Right.
as this, because Matthias was the keyboard player of that band, and when I left the band, I never left him, so to speak. So we always wrote songs together without knowing exactly where to put them or anything. But we wrote songs, we came up with ideas. But both of us are busy people nowadays. So throughout the years, it was less and less. And eventually, he moved up to Stockholm. I live here on the West Coast in Gothenburg. And for those who don't know, I would say it is about a 5, 6 hour drive in between
Right.
the two cities.
Wow.
So it was became more less and less. Because we didn't just want to write me and my here and him over there, and we send stuff to each other. We actually wanted to write together.
Right.
So it was less and less, but eventually came COVID, and OSUKARU couldn't go out and play, and I called him up and said, now is the time to actually finish this.
Right.
We
Right.
started it back in late 2009, and in 2020 we told each other, you know what, let's do this. So we finished the material. We asked a lot of our friends to come along and play on the album, and turned out very good. It got a lot of cool cats on it. I mean, we have Rebecca Toleros, who is former bass player of Art Nation, playing the majority of the bass on this one.
Wow.
Jesper Persson, who is the drummer of a band called Allocate here in Sweden, played drums on all of them. I play all the rhythm guitars, and Matthias all the keyboards. And we have 4 lead singers. On it, we have David Forbes from the Canadian band Boulevard.
Uh-huh. I know.
We have we have Jane Gold singing 2 songs. And yes, David was singing 2 songs too. Christian Rosander, who's released, I think it is 2 very good solo albums in the yacht toto
Uh-huh.
West Coast type genre,
Right.
and he's doing a few now with a little bit of a more updated sound. He's releasing quite a few singles currently, and he's singing on 2 tracks here too. And on the rest of the songs, we have Frederick Werner, who is the lead singer of OSUKARU, doing lead song vocals too. We also have Susanna Korba, who participated in Swedish Idol for a
Right.
season. on a couple of episodes, and she sings all the backing vocals here, and then we have a lot of lead guitars played because I don't do any of the guitar solos.
Right.
We have guests doing those because we figured we wanted different lead vocals. We didn't want a new voice for every song. We wanted them to come back a little bit, so it was a little bit of familiar charity. Yeah, I don't know what you know
Familiar.
what I'm
Yeah.
exactly. I wanted it to be familiar when you listen to it, like you
Right.
were, to have a the same. It has to sound like it's from the same record, is what I mean. Because it can easily sound like a compilation if it's a new singer every single song. But if three songs in and you're back to the first singer, there's a different thing, a different story. And we wanted the same with the guitar players, although I have a few more of those than we have singers. And Chris and Frederick is actually playing two guitar solos each as well because they're great guitar players.
Right.
So yeah, that one was actually made more like they did back in the late 80s, early 90s, which is pretty much the era of inspiration.
Right.
We recorded it digitally, but we mixed it on tape, analog.
Uh-huh.
We used guitar amps and pedals. I think the newest one is from 91.
Right.
And it's the same with the keyboards. All the keyboards he uses are from like 84, 85, 86, and one piano that is from the early 90s. So we used a lot of the sounds and equipment from back then. And I mean, unless we want to lock ourselves in an actual studio, which would, the cost would go through the roof. We're doing
Yeah.
that. We did the next best thing to try to capture that warmth. And I mean, a lot of people take nostalgia as a bad word, but I wouldn't. It gives that nostalgic warmth. I heard John Mayer when he described sob rock. He said he wanted to make a record that would give people false memories, as in they think they've heard the song before and they associate it with something from their
Right.
past.
Uh-huh.
That's exactly what that I took his words and I was like, I want to do that too, and that is what we did with that one.
Cool. Cool.
And it was
Hey,
released on Pride and Joy as well, the CD version and the digital. On vinyl, it is through Dusty Road Records, Dusty Road Records, and that goes for the OSUKARU one as well.
cool. Can look at that album and the title tracks, some of the songs, can you tell me a little bit about them?
On which album?
The Rendezvous.
Oh, this one, all right.
Yep.
Well, of course, tuning in is the intro.
Uh-huh.
I wanted something. I wanted an atmospheric intro. I didn't want a piece of music necessarily or sound effects or something like that. I wanted it to feel like, okay, we're starting a journey here, some sort, and towards the end of it, it is actually it's basically keyboards and drums that is leading the entire thing. And towards the end of it, you hear me plug in the guitar and the bass, and
Uh-huh.
everything starts to come alive, and it kicks straight into Sacred Land, which is the first song with Chris on vocals,
Uh-huh.
very upbeat, and pretty much was written as the opener. It wasn't one that we put there, after a while. It was written as an opener, and I think you can hear that. As We Cry is the first or second. It's one of the first songs we actually wrote for this project. Um, and that one has Frederick on lead vocals,
Uh-huh.
and it's the only song I think in my entire catalog that is written by, well, not only song written by me, but written by me only. Of
Right.
course, Frederick and the others were there to help me arrange the song, but the lyrics and the music was written by me on this one. Normally, Sakara, me, and Frederick write everything together, but with this one, he didn't have time to dig into the lyric content when it was time to actually work on this song. So I gave it a go, and it turned out very well. I mean, Frederick helped a lot, of course, with the melodies and everything, but amazing results. Proud of him, proud of everyone involved. These Tears, the next song, is the first song that is written for this record, but it's the first song out of the songs that was written at all, because it was written in '87. And that is a song that was written by Mathias. He's a little bit older than I am. And he had a band together with a guy called Johnny, who he co-wrote the song with back in '87. So we went through his demos from that era, and that song just stood out. And we figured, you know what, we need to do something with it. And he was kind enough to give me songwriting credits on it, but I would say that all I did was to rearrange it a little bit. He wrote it together with Johnny, and they need to have that credit because it's an amazing tune. And that is the first song that is sung by David Forbes of Boulevard. We then have Midnight Lady, Dangerous Game following that one. And that is a track, I wouldn't call it a duet, but it has two lead singers on it. And it is Chris Rosander, and it is also Frederick. Chris is singing the chorus, and Frederick sings the verses. We went back to a few bands that did that. I mean, Journey in the early days, The Storm, there were Toto, of course, where they, Rosanna is one of those songs where they have one singing the verse and the other singing the chorus and stuff like that. So we wanted to try that as well, and that was a good song to do it. On side B, we open with Fool's Gold, sorry. And that song was originally written for it's the first song with Jane Gold on lead vocals, and that song was originally written for her record that she released with Forget Me Not later on, her solo project. But this one was written for her then potential solo record, because Forget Me Not wasn't in the stars then, and it kind of fell out of our hands due to time and lack of it. We were busy people. She lives in the UK, I live here, so it's not like we can meet each other every day and work, or every week and work on it. But she was over here for a few days back in, well, it was pre-pandemic. I think it was 2019. And we wrote this one and The Essence of Love that is coming a little bit later together. But when we wrote it, when the music came out, kind of, we got a vibe out of it, and I wanted to include it on this very record. And she graciously, thankfully, said yes to sing it. She really helped us with this one, this overall record, really. But she gracefully wanted to contribute, and I asked Mathias to do keyboards in the style of a B action movie from the time, everything between mid '80s to mid '90s, and came out really good. After that, we have This Time Around with the Frederick back on lead vocals. It's more of a yacht rock song. Don't know what else to say. It's a little bit different than the others, but I would call it a grower. It's currently one of my favorites on this album, actually. It didn't start as it, but it is now. And then we have The Essence of Love, which is the other song that we released. We're featuring Jane on lead vocals. It's also the second single out of the album. The first one was As We Cry. And that has Jane on vocals. The All Roads Lead Back to You is coming after that. It's the ballad. Second song with David Forbes. And yeah, that you have to experience that one. I would say David gave that song some incredible performance. Um, and then we have Never Be, which was the first one recorded for this one. And that again features Frederick on lead vocals. And the reason why Frederick is on the majority is because when we first started talking about this project, we wanted it to be a little bit of a mix between I and OSUKARU. So we wanted Mathias from I, me from OSUKARU, and then Frederick, both from OSUKARU, being in the middle, singing, being in the middle, but singing all the songs and bring the two worlds together. But like I said, time wasn't on his side back then. So he said, you know what, I would love to contribute as much as I can, but talk to a few others and see if they can help you out as well. And the result is, there are no words to say how proud I am if I can say that about it in my own release. But F it, I'm very proud of it, and I'm very proud of everyone involved. I think it is 21 musicians on it.
Wow.
It's a big project, and everyone brought their A game. Everyone contributed, and everyone cared. It wasn't like, yeah, of course I can come by for half an hour and record something, and then you pick whatever.
Right.
They listened and they were like, how about if we do this and that, and stuff like that. And for the three videos we did, all the musicians involved in they included on these songs came for the videos and performed on those as well. I mean, everyone cared.
Cool. Cool.
So yeah, I have kind of issues calling it a solo album, even though it is my name above the logo.
Right.
Because first and foremost, Matthias. By the way, let's do that. That's him right
Yeah.
there.
Cool. Cool. Yeah.
And he is 50% of this project. It is not me and him; it is us. And not only that, we have an amazing cast of musicians across the board on this record who all are part of it sounding the way it does. I wouldn't take away anything from any of them.
Wow. Wow. Now, next year is your 15th anniversary, and you're going to put out a new release. Have you started working on it already? And any tunes done?
With OSUKARU, yes, most of the songs are written. They're actually at the Frederick's desk right now. He is working out lyrical content and melodies and ideas to send back to me fairly soon. So I look forward to that. It's going to be a little bit of different record. It's I don't want to say much, but it will sound like OSUKARU. So we're not going into the alternative era or boy band era or whatever
Right.
bands did back then. After a while, it will still sound like OSUKARU, but it will be a little bit heavier, edgier, angrier OSUKARU.
Cool. Now, what about touring?
Of course, there will be a lot of touring too. It is our 15th anniversary. I mean, we had big plans for 10th anniversary back in 2020, but US, you pretty much figured out why that didn't happen, right? So we had to rethink that. And now when we have the 15th coming up, there's nothing stopping us this time. We're gonna go all guns blazing and do what we can to bring a show to the stage that people wouldn't think when
Right.
they think of us or wouldn't expect. I mean, to quote Nicky Six back in the early '80s, we want to bring the stadiums into the club,
Right.
and that is pretty much the mindset going out next year, playing with OSUKARU, and bring out songs that we never played live before, that and no one would expect us to play live before, and songs that we rarely done, and of course songs we have done before, but you know they will sound together with everything, one thing else, a little bit different, a little bit more fresh. It's not like we're changing anything, but it's gonna be very cool. I'll tell you that. Can't wait to see where it takes us. But we have grand plans. Hopefully, most of them will happen. But we are quite a bit, into the booking part regarding the tour days of next year. We we're deep into that, so that will happen. In the spring, it will mostly be the anniversary type of tour, and towards the fall when the new album is out, we will have a few more songs from the new record in spreading there as well. But all year will be the 50th anniversary and various versions of that.
Okay.
We
Now,
will bring out songs no one would expect and stuff. So that goes for all year, maybe even leaning into the year after as well. But it will be a very cool year for everyone who has seen us and has not seen us. It will be a this is the time.
oh, cool. Do you have any merchandise available and people could buy it?
We have a little bit right now, but we're putting our focus into the merch of next year,
Right.
going with the 15th anniversary and the new album. Will be quite spectacular, I hope. I always, when it comes to merch, I always think Kiss on a budget. Like what did Kiss do, and how can I do it within our budget?
Right. Yeah.
So yes, there will be merch, and there will be merch aplenty.
Uh-huh.
But currently, we don't have anything fresh and new, except for these
Right.
new reissues. But we don't have them personally. They are over at Pride and Joy. But sit tight, and there will be some merch reveals very soon for everyone watching and everyone interested. There will be merch reveals soon for next year.
Cool, cool. Before we end, can you tell me anything about Blindfoldead?
The you mean the
Your
agency?
your company, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I I work as manager too for quite a few bands, and that is Blindfolded International Management. It's called. It is in basically a management agency, but we have also released a couple of records, and not on vinyl but on CD with that one. And it is a sister agency to my wife's agency, which is called AHM
Uh-huh.
Music Management. Sorry, AHM Management, which is short for Adrian Hall Music Management. Where that one is working with bands like Lips, Smoking Snakes, Notorious, Boulevard.
All bands I like.
Quite a good lineup. Go to her socials and figure out who she's working with a lot of cool bands. And on Blindfolded, I work with bands called Still Skin, another one called Flight of Icarus. We also have former singer of OSUKARU, Lisa Eugenia, is working on her first solo record. She's working in a band called Coherence nowadays,
Right.
but she's also working on a solo record, which she's doing through Blindfolded. And even Susanna Corba, who's singing backing vocals on my solo record, is doing a few songs of her own that is going to be released very soon through Blindfolded as well. So there are quite a few things happening on that camp.
Cool.
And as most have probably noted, since why you brought it up, the Blindfolded is probably the visual concept of that management as well.
Right.
I've when I created the idea of Blindfolded was in the late 2000s
Uh-huh.
in Nordic around professionally. It started to become a company around 2008,
Right.
and I wanted something that wasn't just a guy in a suit and tie in a skyscraper somewhere you never hear of. It's always the bands out there, and then they have the guy
Right.
behind them. I wanted to do something that could tie all the artists signed to the agency together.
Right.
Like we're in this together. We something symbolic, something that people would make people react. And I came up with the idea of the blindfold because it is quite shocking to a few people, and that is by design. Um, I want people to think and react and be
Right.
like, what's the idea? What's the mindset of this? This is interesting. And for everyone, if watching this, googling, it's blindfolded, spelled blindfold dead, as in DEAD at the end,
Right.
blindfold dead international management. Find us on Instagram and Facebook, and you will see what it is all about. But what I have is the artists are for the promotional photos through our official channels, not on theirs necessarily, but on ours. They wear the blindfold, and that is when people stumble across the pages and they react and they look into it, and the more they look, the more interesting they find it. And then we go to the artist page and they listen to the stuff and they watch the videos and fall in love with the artist, hopefully.
Oh,
And it has been a proven success so far, because imagine like when back in the day when we actually sent physical press kits to
right.
labels,
Yeah.
which we still did back into 08, 09, 2010, etc. When you got this pile of stuff and then you find a press kit where the artists wear a blindfold,
Right.
you look at it and you're like, you know what, I'm going to look into this a little bit later, and all of a sudden you're on top of the pile
Right.
when they
Yep.
get back to it. And that is what I noticed when people got back to me.
Right.
Oh, I'm very interested in booking this band, or I'm very interested in doing this with this band or artist and whatnot. And yeah, so I just wanted to have a agency that would first and foremost tie the artists together, like symbolically,
Right.
have them being, representing the company and also the company representing them. We help each other, so to speak. And symbolically, it is also that we are all, how do I normally say this? The socials and stuff. It. I need to look it up. Give me a second here because um I haven't done interviews in a while, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I am a little bit rough when it comes to this. I'm sorry for waiting. A unique concept that unites us with our artists and make us not just a team but equal. The blindfold is a
Yeah.
symbol of being transported into an inner world unfolded in song.
Okay. Cool. 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 Cool.
So
So,
that also goes with the team, because everyone working and it's not just me. It's not. It's my wife too, and we
right.
also have a few others that are working with us. And on their photos on the website and everything, they wear it too. I mean, we are all equal. We're all
Right.
working to a common goal for
Right.
everyone involved.
Cool. Cool.
So that is the concept of a blindfolded. And as those of you who pay attention, if you look at the cover art for
Right.
OSUKARU,
Cool.
it is part of that too.
Wow.
And
So we're going to run out of time here. So would you like to say anything to the fans out there?
well, yes, if you're watching this, thank you for being interested in the stuff me and the guys are doing.